What's up, YouTube? Capital G here, D&O commentary. So we've got Shadow Lord X 1814 versus Tamid Zaman 1721. I've seen Tamid play a couple of times with Shaddolls. He kind of, to me, he seems like a product of the deck. Like, he's not that great, but the deck is amazing, so it kind of carries him. Alright, so anyways, Tamid went first, and just to recap, he opened up with, he played Armageddon Knight, he dumped Squamata, and then he dumped Beast. He drew a card. Then I believe he played Allure Darkness, getting rid of Dragon. Then he went Soul Charge for what? He Soul Charged back Armageddon Knight. He Soul Charged back Squamata and Beast. And then he decided to make Sky Blaster and use its first effect, which, to be honest, I'm not even gonna lie. I half didn't even realize that Castle had. What's it called? I didn't even realize he had a first effect. Like, does anybody ever use the Book of Moon effect? I mean, really? So anyways, this face down is a beast. He went for the preemptive Vanity's Emptiness, which, I mean, it was a good play. He wanted to obviously make sure that his opponent couldn't, you know, exceed, but unfortunately for him, he just pretty much milled the nuts. Looks like he's going to be going about +2, potentially. No, I think it could be +3. Because he's going to kill Castle in battle. So, that would be, I guess, like a +1. He's going to resolve Skirm. And then he's going to resolve, he didn't activate Seer. That's weird. He totally milled, he totally excavated a Seer. And yet he chose not to actually activate it. I mean, obviously he can't activate 2 Skirms in 1 turn. Because it is a once per turn effect. But the fact that he detached this guy right here, I guess he felt like if he was going to go into Downert Magician, then whatever he summoned from Seer just would have died. Seer summons from the graveyard, so he could have just gotten Scrum back, the one that he detached. So, I don't know. Alright, so anyways, he's going to try and get his search for Scrum. I assume he's going to go for Tour Guide from the Underworld. It seems like the best bet, in my opinion. Well, okay, he gets Graph, so maybe he has Disruption cards. Here's my question. I don't know that he actually needed to make the downer. Wouldn't you just take the +1 from, wouldn't you have just taken the +1 from Sir? Instead of going for downer? Like, what is downer? Downer really doesn't help your offense that much because Dante in itself is a 2100 or 2500 beater, just like she is. I mean, I don't know. So anyways, you see that he obviously did want to set up his play, the Phoenix from One Blast, pitching, I believe it was Graft, for, to spin the dragon, or not the dragon, the beast on top of, Tamand's, or, Tamid's deck. And then obviously, its effect will trigger, it'll try and summon something to the field. That something being Scram will die because he has Downer Magician out. And now play goes back to Shadow Lord X. So, he's in a good position, and looks like he's going to be drawing more cards as well. This is one of the few times where I see that, I mean, Burning Abyss is kind of controlling the game, and this is not something that happens always, or often. That's what I meant to say. Because, again, I've said it numerous times. I believe that, I don't think this match is unwinnable. I just think it is, it's heavily in the favor of Burning Abyss, or excuse me, in Shaddolls. But you see, with all the removal that he had, double Phoenix with One Blast, I mean, you lock your opponent down for days with that. See, that's why I don't even think going into the Downer Magician was that relevant, unless you just wanted to keep on triggering his Skarms. Like, that could be the only reason I could think of. If he didn't want them on field, he wanted them to keep blowing up so that they would die and he'd be able to keep searching. But regardless, Phoenix with One Blast is a monster card. Like, the only other time I can remember Phoenix with One Blast being this good is honestly right after Ryza came out, and it's either I think Ryza came out in not Storm of Ragnarok, Strike of Neos, and Phoenix with One Blast was just a monster that format, because you could literally just Phoenix with One Blast your opponent's monster and then tribute for Ryza, and your opponent would, like, you'd set them back 2 turns. I mean, it was incredible. So it was really good, that format in conjunction with Ryza, you know what I mean? Just because you could just set your opponent back so much. In fact, they even limited Ryza to 1 at one point. It was a really stupid hit, to be honest. Like, why would you ever limit a fucking Monarch? A card that has to be tribute summoned to get its effect. Alright, so looks like to mid is up. And right now, you just see that Phoenix Wombax is so good because, I mean, people know what cards that they can kind of spin to the top of your deck and what they can't. You know what I mean? For the most part, people aren't really playing Forbidden Lance this format. I think a lot more people feel comfortable playing Mystical Space Typhoon because MST actually gets rid of the problem that is Vanity's Emptiness. So you see, to mid opens up really good. Not only does he have Thunder Dragon, oh boy, them rips. Them rips are real. So I believe he had a Falco and a Beast, which means he not only gets to add Shaddolls Fusion, but Falco is +1, Beast is +2. So basically in that play, he just went +2. You see, he started with 5 cards and he now has 7. So, I mean, that's a +2 of +2s, ladies and gentlemen. And you're in a good position with Falco because if it gets attacked, it doesn't really care. It can just, you know, get that Beast back. Beast can draw a couple of cards to starting 1. As long as you've got some Shaddolls. And if Shadow Lord goes into the extra deck, he obviously has Shaddolls Fusion locked and loaded, already ready. So the prices of Shaddolls keep plummeting. I think you'll probably see him immediately go for Falco, get that Beast, see if he can take the +1 that he had, or the +2, excuse me, and turn it into a +3, which he just did because he didn't get the summon, but it doesn't matter because he still got rid of Breakthrough Skill. So technically right now, to mid is +3, which is pretty insane. to be +3 just on turn 1. Now, I actually like that to mid is playing Kari Bandit because that card seems really, really nuts in Shaddolls, especially if you're running Thunder Dragon. You can get to your Thunder Dragon early so that it kind of makes sure that you don't mill them. You have them in your hand or whatever. And then it's like, if you're playing Equipped Wyvern, I mean, it just gets even better. Like, the thing that I've noticed about this deck is when it gets Dark Arm Dragon, it's gonna fucking drop Dark Arm Dragon. Like, I've never seen the deck, you know, have Dark Arm Dragon and like it sits in its hand dead. That never happens with Shaddolls. It just doesn't happen. Alright, so you see that Falco was ran over by I believe that's Graft. Yeah, that's Graft. I'm at the point where I know their arts and I know which one corresponds with each effect. Like, he's the guy that summons from the deck. I know the one with the mask and the long nails. That is Skarm. He's the one that adds during the end phase. And then I know Surge as being the other one. And you see the Malcat. By the way, I'm just a huge fan of Malcat this format. I think that it is literally one of the best cards in the game right now because people just don't see it coming. You see that not only did he get another +1 there, and he's just going pluses for days now. I feel like it's really good against S-Knights because they're just a back row deck. They set everything with no regard. And unless they have, you know, what's that card? That dang on Alpha Nova, I mean, they're just in a bad situation. Alright, so Soul Charge for what? And that what being 3 cards. And this is another reason why Thunder Dragon is so good. Because it gives you the ability to play Pallades in the deck. I mean, you don't want to fall in love with Soul Charge so much that you don't put any offense out. But it gives you the ability to run Pallades and to run Michael. And I think we're going to see him make Michael because it is such a fantastic card against Burning Abyss. Like, honestly, not just is it good against Burning Abyss, but it's good against the mirror match. You know what I mean? Like, in this format right now, you want to try and use... Okay, I don't understand. Is he getting the Kari Bandit or what? Because that's about the 4th time he's tried to... Okay, there it is. So, I guess he's going to go for Pallades. I thought maybe he might go for... Alright, so he does go for the Pallades, and... Looks like he's going to activate Shaddolls Fusion now, giving up his Falco and his Beast. Both of those guys will trigger, by the way. I was so silly. I remember when I played Shaddolls at first, and I used to think, man, when they activate Shaddolls Fusion, they're going to give up so many cards for that? Nope, all the motherfuckers trigger. All of them trigger, son. Imagine if Gem Knights would have been that good. Alright, so, looks like he's bouncing. I imagine... to mid doesn't want to get hit with a potential Kaya's play or something dumb like that. which would obviously get rid of his Winda. Going back to Michael is so good right now because just in general, haven't you noticed kind of a resurgence of just banishing cards? People play Chaos Sorcerer right now, Caius, BLS is played in Shaddolls and in Burning Abyss. And it's because when you play against Burning Abyss and Shaddolls, you don't want to destroy stuff. If you destroy Shadow fusions, they get their fusion card back. If you destroy their monsters when they're face down, then they trigger. If you destroy them in battle when they're face down, then they trigger from flip effects. If you destroy Burning Abyss monsters, they trigger. So it's like you just want to banish stuff now. So Michael is just really important, and 1,000 life points is nothing if I can get rid of, a graft and set my opponent back. And I don't know what Michael's defense is, but if I put it in defense mode, hopefully it can live and it stops my opponent from being able to, just set up their Burning Abyss monsters and try and sit on them. It will cost a little bit of life points, but 1,000 life points to banish a card I'll pay that any day of the week. Alright, so you're seeing just how powerful Soul Charge is. I think in this format, Soul Charge is the most powerful card. I would say Vanity's Emptiness is second. I still put Soul Charge above Vanity's Emptiness just because there are some other decks that don't play Vanity's Emptiness. And you see Tamid activates Chain Disappearance, a card that I am super fond of. And I know that there's kind of this tug of war between Floodgate cards and oh my god, he hit one out the hand. Oh man, it just he went from having a 1-for-1 to a +1, and that just was nasty. A lot of people like to side Floodgate cards, Shadow Mirror and Soul Drain and stuff like that. This is the reason why I brought up pulling the rug is I like the mentality of actually killing the monster. You know what I mean? Let's just say he was playing S-Knights and he had this field and it was something like this. It was different. If he had Shadow Mirror, there wouldn't have been anything stopping Shadow Lord X from going, okay, well, I special summon another graft and then I'll, make Dante and then I'll rank Dante up and then I'll play these and you know what I mean? Like, he could have still made plays. That's my point. The point is he could have still made plays, but with Chain Disappearance, you can't do shit. Sorry, you just can't do anything. Now, you see that Shadow Lord tries to special summon. He must have forgot about Winda's effect because he already used his inherent special summon on Graft, and unfortunately Graft fell into Chain Disappearance. He does activate Breakthrough Skill, so go ham. Now is when, he needs to do a lot this turn. Bluntly. To put bluntly, he needs to do a ton this turn, because obviously Pallades is still a very real card. Now you see that Tribute Summon for Ryza, and I guess he's going to target Winda. I think I'd just let that go, to be honest. Because if Ryza, the face down, isn't that Falco? What are you going to do? Are you going to attack the Falco? I'll just get another flip effect. So, even without my Winda, you only having one card in your hand, and you've already committed your normal summon. If I had a Solemn Warning, I wouldn't Solemn Warning that. If I had a Breakthrough Skill, okay, I'd be inclined. And you know what? I'd save it, honestly, because I don't want you sacking me with Blackluster Soldier. That's just my opinion. You know what I mean? Granted, with 4 cards in Shadow Lord's graveyard, the chances of him being able to drop BLS are not good, but the fact is, look at Shadow Lord's position. It's not like he can't run over the Caius, it's not like he can't run over the Ryza anyway with Pallades, so, is there any immediate danger here? And you see that he has yet another Shadow Fusion, and he's gonna summon Winda. He's going to get Beast's Draw. He can't activate Falco's effect because he just used it, so it's once per turn. And this could be lights out because that Breakthrough Skill, it was kind of like the last resort. Well, honestly, it wasn't even the last resort. It was the only way that Shadow Lord X could even make a play, to be honest. And you see that Shadow Lord X admits defeat because Ryza was going to die. There is no Wind Honest, and he just probably wasn't going to have any plays or the resources. I also noticed during that end phase, he totally forgot to search from Scrum. He did Tribute Summon it, which means he could have gotten a tour guide, but maybe he thought that it was a moot point at that point. So Chain Disappearance does a lot. Karee Bandit does a lot in that match, and Malcat does a lot too. That was a match where Tamid, from turn 1 to mid, just looked like he was going to run away. He went +2 off the Karee Bandit. How do you come back from that? You go +2 off Career Bandit, and then you have Soul Charge to follow it up. That's too good. All right, so we're going into game 3. Now, this is a match where if I'm Burning Abyss, unfortunately, I think I want to go first. And I don't really like going first that much, but I look at the matchup, and I don't want Window on board because that's going to be a hurdle that I don't want to have to jump, because then I pretty much have to have breakthrough skill like turn 1 to get around her. And I feel like, I don't know, Burning Abyss, like most of their plays come from like getting that turn 1 Dante and then milling. And if my opponent puts Window on board, well, okay, my tour guide play into Dante, that's not going to happen. And my whole, you know, like, I can special summon and go into Dante the old fashioned way, which doesn't leave you neg at all, because the second you detach, that monster is going to pay for itself. I mean, you can't do that either. And I mean, I don't know. I feel like Shaddolls, even if they don't open with Winda, there is so much advantage to be made with, what's that card? Sinister Shadow Games, which I still don't completely understand the artwork in that card. Like, it's a Shadow card, but it has Yang Xing in the art, so what's going on there? I don't understand. Like, it needs to explain the lore of Shadow to me, because are they monsters that became dark, like Evil Swarm, where they're like monsters that became infected, or are they monsters that are being controlled by the Quillports? Like, I don't get it. So, anyways, you see Shadow Lord X opens up with the tour guide. The only question here will be, what does he choose to get? My guess would probably be Scrum, just because that pretty much gets the engine going. Either Scrum or Graft, you know what I mean? Either one of those are going to be good plays. Alright, so he goes for Scrum. And he'll probably make Dante. I've actually started to see a lot of players, when they make Dante turn 1, instead of milling 3, they mill 1. I don't know like what the real reason for that is, but I've just noticed it in a couple of matches where I've been playing against Burning Abyss. Like, they don't go 3 on the first turn, they go for just 1. And also Dante's price has started to dip a little bit. You remember, was it last weekend? He was $60 and now he's 43, so $17 drop. Alright, and you see Shadow Lord, he's going for 1 card again. Instead of 3, they go for 1. I think maybe they want to get, oh wow, never mind, he's ranking up. So I guess it's a really good thing that he went first, because you think about if Tamid would have just been like, play my monsters and then flip over Vanity's Emptiness, I mean, Shadow Lord just would have been dead, right? I mean, his rank up would have been dead, he couldn't have used that. His tour guide play would have been moot, because Vanity's just would have been like, nope, you just have a 1000 monster and can't do anything else. Alright, so now, I don't understand. I saw that there was a regional top 8 deck. It was Burning Abyss, and it topped, and it didn't run rank up. Me personally, I don't get that, man. I think rank up Astral Force is just, like, it makes this deck so freaking good. Like, I understand it takes up a ton of space in your extra deck, but, I mean, do you really need, like, Acid Golem and shit like that? You know, like, there are some of those rank 3s that realistically you don't need. I think that this card, and not just does it give the deck like inherent ways to get rid of monsters that the deck would struggle with, you know, like stall cards, but I mean, it just gives the deck like a whole nother just dimension. Alright, so you see that Career Bandit comes down, and that's gonna get spun, and this is looking like one of those games where Shadow Lord X might capture it based just strictly off of that Pallades. So you see that he goes for another Scram, and I believe all 3 Scrams should be gone right now. And he's going to get the Dante effect as well. So you see he's taking heavy negs, but he's going to recuperate all those negs. Graft is added to the hand, and he'll still get that in-phase Surge, which means you'll probably see another tour guide come down. Okay, so he takes Sur instead. I guess maybe he's thinking, oh, what if I get Torrential or something like that? He draws. And right now, this is a really bad position for Tamid, because 2 of his cards are Thunder Dragon, which is no good. And one of his cards, the card on top of his deck, is Career Bandit, a card that he probably won't even be able to use. Okay, so Breakthrough Skill is played. I guess he just wanted it in the graveyard. We see another Tour Guide come down. And Open Field, I guess you can attack for 26 if you get a Sir, honestly. 26 and 25, what is that, 5100? He decides to go for Scram. I guess he did have another one, my bad. So he does reduce the damage that he could have done significantly. Well, no, I guess if he goes to Dante, it's still 5k. But I don't know. I feel like Pallades lets this deck do a bunch of damage really quickly. Because Dante is great and everything, but you can deprison Dante. Your opponent will still get that search, but still, like, you know what I mean? They don't get the search from Dante. Uh-oh, is he going BLS? If he's going BLS, that's exactly 8k. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Exactly 8k. We call that the 8k special. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed. Apparently the match is not unwinnable. Thank you guys for watching as always.